This talk is actually kind of riffing on the same theme of the previous talk, but from a different direction. So we have a coin from Muqātil bin Misma that was struck in Bishapur in the year 73. And Muqātil bin Misma was a general for the, well, he was originally general under the Zubaiриds, but after the second fitna, he was a general for the Marwanids. And he was particularly important in Marwanid campaigns against Kharijites, and in fact lost his life in a battle against Kharijites. So he has this issue that has a legend that says Bismillah, and then it has a legend in the third quarter that has been misread, I think, in my opinion, for many, many years, that we're going to talk about. All right, so we have this legend. I've got in the coin, if you know the coin, you might be able to read it. But anyways, I got it written up here in Arabic, more or less as it appears on the coin. Of course, it's unpointed Arabic. But Arabic script is very defective. It doesn't have the vowels, and it doesn't have the points. So you could potentially read it many different ways. The Bismillah, that's solid. But then we have this other legend here that has been read as Bakriya, okay, and that would be translated as Bakri, in being indefinite, feminine, and singular. John Walker first proposed this after having a conversation with some Arabist, I don't know, 80 years ago, but he wasn't quite sure about it, so he hesitated. He said it might be this. Heinz Galway looked at it and he said that doesn't make sense, but he couldn't come up with anything better. And so he more or less repeated it. And this is kind of now taking on, it's become kind of, one writer has recently said, that's absolutely what it is. All the scholars agree. It's like, there's no alternative interpretation after 80 years. So that has to be what it is. Well, there's a lot of problems with this, and if any of you out there have even just a basic knowledge of Arabic, you will quickly pick up on this. The Muqātil bin Misma happened to be from the tribe, the Bakr bin Wa'il. So at least it's plausible that he would be identified as al-Bakri, because that's what your laqab would be if you're from the tribe of the Bakr bin Wa'il. The problem is that if you're going to be identified by a tribal laqab, then it would be, you would have to have a definite article. It would have to be alif lam, al-Bakri. You don't just say Bakri. If you say Bakri, that means a person from the tribe of Bakr bin Wa'il. Okay. And the second thing is, it'd be masculine, right? Muqātil is a band. Therefore, it has to be al-Bakri. It can't be al-Bakri or Bakri. It just can't be. There's no way that you could explain the feminine gender. There's no way you can explain the lack of an alif lam. Third problem is, I don't know any coin for the first 150 years of Islam, for sure, that has a tribal laqab on it. Okay. Now we have, for coppers, Umayyad coppers, you have Tanuq, but that's referring to a place. Tanuq is a tribe, the Banu Tanuq. But that's referring to a place. It's a place name. It's not a personal. It's not a laqab. And I think there's good reasons for that. When you're talking about coins, you're talking about a product that at least in some ways represents the state. And the state is supposed to be more than just a tribe, and it oftentimes is operating, against tribal affiliations. But anyways, there it stands. So for all of those reasons, there's just no way that this could possibly be the right reading. So I'm going to propose a different reading, which I think makes more sense. Okay, so this reading is Bismillah Nudra Bihi. And what this does is is what it presupposes is that what you have is something called compressed spacing. So you actually have two words here, nudra and then bihi. But you do not have spacing between the first and the second word. And that is actually pretty common for coins of this period. I forgot to load a slide with some examples, but if you look at Reformed coins, if you even look at coins from Bishopur from the 70s, you will find phrases like Muhammad Rasulullah or other phrases, and they have compressed spacing so that you can't readily identify the end of one word and the beginning of another word. Now, in Arabic, they do have sometimes features that help you separate words, even when they are compressed close together. So, for instance, the final meme has this little tail at the end. And if Allah was compressed right in next to the meme, you would still know that that's two words because you have that tail on the meme. And if it was one word, the meme would be attached to the aleph that follows it. Okay. But in the case of some letters like the Ra, whether it is in the initial position, middle position, or final position, it does not attach to the letter that follows it. Okay. And so you could have a word, you would have any new word after it, it would not be attached to that word. So if you had compressed spacing, you wouldn't know the difference between it being one word or two words. Now, the translation of Bismillah Nudhr Bihi is in the name of God, warning has been given of him. And this is important. The root for Nudhra, Nadhara, is very common in the Quran. The prophet is always called a Nadhir. He's a warner. He's warning people of God's judgment. He's warning people to fall in line, to follow the law. This is an alternative. You could say Nadhara bihi, he, Muqātil, has given warning, or warning, I'm sorry, I didn't write that right. Muqātil has given warning of him, right? So that's just a variation of that. Okay, so here's a Quranic verse. We sent Noah to his people with a mission. I have come to you with a clear warning, Nadhir, that ye serve none but God. Verily, I do fear for you the penalty of a grievous day. Okay. So this is all over in the Quran. And this legend's now coming up at a time when the Quran is being cited for the first time. In about 6 or 7 years before this, Abd Malik bin Abdullah in Bishopur adopted the legend Muhammad Rasulullah. Okay, Rasul refers to the Quran. You have, shortly after this, you have the adoption of Reformed coinage. And one of the verses on the Reformed coinage is called the mission verse. Arsalahu bil huda wa din al haq yuzhiruhu ala din kullihi lo karha el mushrikuna. Okay, God sent him, or he sent him, or Muhammad, with right guidance and the religion of truth to establish over all religion, even if the associators and the mushrikun detest it. Okay, so this has a very, very similar theme. And so I think that this is a better, stronger reading than the Bakri that we've had previously. Thank you.